Yeah.
Yeah, you could put something, one of those, maybe little support cushions or something.
Little pads. How about these?
I think she's going. That's great.
Try these two. Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah, those are great.
There are a couple of these, so you might want to
Turn it down a little bit.
Great.
And make sure.
thank you.
The stream looks okay because it's doing something.
Yeah, and then depending on your height, it may help to have something under your feet.
I like to have something on my shirt. To get.
What do you think?
Sound good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay, well, that works.
That's good.
Right. Have a great
Let's-
class. And I'll still be here at the end.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna come in and Jordan shows up, I'll definitely just send him on. Okay.
Totally.
Sit well, everyone.
Thank you.
Fit well, that's fine.
Yeah. So, let's go through the postural part, right? So, if you're sitting cross-legged or seiza, it makes sense to, as you were saying, have your hips above your knees. That's good, right? And have, if it's your knees that are down, have them firmly planted. If it's your feet that are down, have them firmly planted, right? So the feeling is you have this kind of solid tripod of support that where if you rock right and left, if you rock forward and backward, you can feel the distribution of weight doesn't need to be even, but it needs to feel balanced, right? Feel solid. Usually, my guess is that, if you're sitting in half lotus, right, like probably 80% of your weight is on your sit bones, but there's still a substantial amount of weight on my knees, and that if you can just use the large muscles of your legs to rock yourself back and forward and feel how that establishes a balance point that's somewhere in the middle and establishes something about the sort of use of and degree of engagement of the muscles in your legs. When you're sitting cross-legged, you want to be careful not to be yanked too hard on your quads, because the funny thing about it is that where that starts to show up is down here at your knees, right? If your quads are too tight, the points of attachment down here start to hurt after a while. If you're okay, so that's, I'll talk about that more later. And I guess the other part is whatever it is that you're sitting on, it's worth noticing how it's impacting your sciatic nerve, right? Like nerves. One of the main ways, there are several ways that your legs can fall asleep, and you're not so likely to have that happen if you're sitting in a chair, but sometimes it can happen. But the main way that they fall asleep, that the whole leg falls asleep, is if there's too much pressure on your sciatic nerve. And so it's worth noting that. And what I do when I'm sitting on a cushion is I actually kind of tend to carve a little channel in the cushion in order to fix it so that my sit bones are not, and that my sciatic nerves are not being pressed too hard against bones in my leg, right, or my pelvis. So from there, right, so think about your sort of lower stomach muscles and the muscles in your lower back. So it can help to put your hands on these two giant ropes of muscle that run up and down on either side of your spine. If you rock back and forth, you can feel how they clench and release. If you sit upright, you'll notice they're still engaged, but they're softly engaged. And the same is true for your lower stomach muscles, right? You can feel how they work when you rock backwards and forwards, right and left. And you want them to be, you want to be upright by virtue of a modest engagement of all the large muscles in your body, as opposed to some cluster of tensions in ancillary muscles, right? So another way to help with that is to imagine, well, we're going to talk more about the hara, but the hara is this place, maybe people know about it, but it's sort of a couple inches below your navel, right in the middle of your body. It's kind of the bottom of your breathing apparatus, right? So you can imagine that place and imagine that there's a pillar planted in that place that's supporting, presumably, it's some sort of Doric column, and it has a cap, and that cap is right behind and underneath your sternum, right? So when your sternum is supported in that way, it allows your shoulders to roll back, your chest to open up a little bit, and it allows the muscles in your upper back to be pretty relaxed, actually. If you do that, you can feel how the muscles and sort of even the skin in your upper back and your neck kind of feel like they're kind of sliding down toward the base of your spine. Your shoulders open up and there's some, and they're kind of out. So you've got this line from your ears to your shoulders, out your arms, and this line from the middle of your forehead down across the tip of your nose and down essentially to your navel, right? Your face is vertical, and we sit with our eyes open, sort of downcast and relaxed, and then as broad as possible. So, your lids can be a little bit relaxed, and so you shouldn't be like this, right? But it's good to be able to take in the whole periphery with of your visual field, including, I can see, that door over there, for example, just with my eyes down. You have a pretty broad peripheral vision. And just to let it be that way so that your visual field is comprehensive. Right? So canonical hand position is you put your left palm on your right palm, you roll that into a sphere, sort of, with your thumb tips touching and the engagement between your hands very light, and rest the little fingers of both hands right against your lower abdomen with your thumb tips up above your navel, and pretty much everything else hanging below. There's a sort of sweet spot for this. You can try moving it up and down. That when you find the sweet spot, a couple things happen. One, it feels like there's almost no tension in your arms holding up your hands. It feels like they're naturally in that position because the joints in your shoulders, elbows, wrists, and so on have put them there. And often the space between your hands appears to warm up, which means I think that all the sort of neuromuscular energy is flowing freely. And then let your head float up off your shoulders, continuing that lift in your chest. It allows your head to float back and allows the muscles in your upper back to relax further. And back to the hara. So at least initially, it can help to breathe in this way, where you bring a little tension to your hara, and how you do that is by slightly tensing tensing is even the wrong word, putting a little bit of pressure in the lower stomach muscles and some corresponding pressure on the muscles of your pelvic floor, right? So do that, and with that, breathe out all the way. When you're all the way breathed out, just pause. And then eventually, and it can sometimes take a little while, but sometimes it happens immediately, your diaphragm just says, oh yeah, time to breathe in. So then you release any residual tension there, and you just let the breath flow in. Again. If you like, you can even visualize this, although it's not necessary, that the breath, when it comes in, sort of climbs up the back, kind of refreshes the posture of your upper back, and then on the out breath, falls down the front, and it's like your breath collapses out of the body, like there's a stone, falls through your body and presses your breath out of your heart. So breathe like that maybe 5, maybe 7 times, and then let it go a little bit. Let your breath take its natural rate and depth, but keep your energy and your attention here in your heart. It's like you're watching your body from your heart. It's like you're participating in the activity of the body from your place in the heart. Let's see.